Alright, hello everybody, it's Captain Conroy here once again, and as you can see, I'm up on the Mallard Railway once more, and I currently have two locomotives in operation. We've got Silver Link right there, who belongs to my brother, and King William IV right there, and I've got an assortment of models on the table, as I do, but on the whole, these models are the subject as to what today's video is about. For today's video, I'm going to tap, if I can talk properly, sorry, I'm going to count down my top 5 favourite model engines, those that are non-Thomas and those that are Thomas. So I took a lot of inspiration from one of Sam's Trains videos. He counted down his top 5 favourite Thomas models from Batman and Hornby. And how mine's going to work. Well, it's a bit like a top 10 really, because of course I'm going to count down 5 that are Batman Thomas, that are well Thomas as a whole, and 5 that are non-Thomas. So yeah, without any further ado, let's begin. Alright, so here we are. And we'll start with the non-Thomas engines first, I think, and to kickstart with number 5. And funny enough, he was of course running. We have my King class. This particular one is King William IV. If I at least remember correctly, if I name my Roman numerals, I at least think that's what this is. The 4th, and when it comes down to it, the King class is a very quality model. I do like it. It's got a good weight to it. I may not be a massive expert on detailings, and I may not be one of those who counts all the rivets or whatever else it may be. I would say it's very nicely detailed, yes. And even outside of the mechanical detailing, you've got like the banding and the way all these details just break up, everything very nicely, so it stops it looking too dull. This particular one is 6002. And on the whole, it's just a very nice model, and it's quite a pleasure to look at. And as you'll see if you follow my Instagram, or see on at least a couple of videos in here if you haven't already. It looks marvellous pulling coaches. And whenever I get down to doing my series, King William will actually be a character in it. He'll get to meet Thomas and his friends, and I'm really looking forward to working on that. That'll be quite good once I'm able to get down to that. As I say, I'll just come when it comes, but I'm mostly waiting so I can get all detail up first, like grass and ballast, which I definitely will do. It's all just being a steady process. But yeah, that's number 5 on my list for non-Thomas engines, the King class. And if you don't have a King class, I definitely recommend getting one. It's a very good investment. Alright, moving on up to number 4. This is definitely a nice model and it's very recognisable. And well, this engine needs no introduction. This one's Mallard. This particular Mallard is a Batman model, and I got it second hand from Rails of Sheffield. And I always find Mallard a good and enjoyable locomotive to have, because it even says Batman right there. Because, well, it's so recognisable, and just about everybody knows Mallard, because, well, 126 miles an hour, and I believe it's a steam record that still hasn't been beaten to this day. So when it comes to the Batman Mallard, it's loco driven, So all the weight's in the loco and that's what makes it go. And the tender's just a dead weight. It may be basically detailed and it may have separately moulded parts, much like most other models, and this actually does come out and you can put it in there if you want. I just like to put it in there for the added detail. But by itself, it's still a very nice model and it does run pretty well. May not be the fastest engine in my collection, which is definitely not going to be the most accurate thing ever, but hey ho, it runs well, it looks nice, and I especially love running it with my Pullmans. That's very nice, makes for a great combination. And if you're a monorail enthusiast looking to get started, I always recommend Mallard as a starter model. It's very recognisable, everybody knows it. It's a great introduction to having the larger engines as well. And definitely a good sign there. We love Mallard around here because of course we also have Silverlink, owned by my brother. And I do have his fictionalised counterpart as well, good old Spencer. Just put his tender there as well. Completes the image. Yeah. So yeah, my Batman Mallard, a great addition to the collection, and it's easily worthy of the number 4 spot. Coming up to number 3 on the list, this one's another very recognisable loco, and it's a very fun loco too. And it certainly makes a great one if you have any young ones in your family who are big fans. But of course, here it is. This engine certainly needs no introduction. It's Alton Hall in guise of the Hogwarts Express locomotive. Even why it says Hogwarts Castle, even though the loco is a whole class. You know, it comes down to it. I do actually quite like how the King class looks very similar to that, or it could be that looks similar to that, depending which one was made first. But you can see the differences. There's a more slender boiler, the shape of a running board, that part of the wheel there, the funnels, and just the fact that the King class is bigger certainly makes the difference. But when it comes to this model, this is nicely detailed as well, and they catch everything really well on it from the Hogwarts headboard. 5972, which of course is Alton Hall's number. Got Hogwarts Castle there, and railways on the tender, the number again. And you do have your separately fitted details and all. And it's always one I've really enjoyed running around this one, and I'm even gonna make my Hogwarts Express a character in my series who I'll be happy to introduce you to once the series gets off the ground. It won't actually be the Hogwarts Express itself in the series, but I do have an explanation for that. Even by themselves, the Hall class locomotives are just very nice. They have a very nice design. I love them. Looking at that, it's a very visually appealing design, and I just feel that the Great Western had some of the best locomotives, and the Hall class is easily one of the showcases as to why. So yes, the Hall class, of course, is why you're taking number 3 for me, which is definitely a pretty good score. And the light up light. Yeah, has to be a nice added bonus. So yeah, number 3, and well done Hogwarts Express. And now we're getting big as we're coming in number 2. Yeah, number 2 is not actually the most up-to-date model I've got, but it's one which unlocks a lot of nostalgia. And it's another very recognisable one. And, well, as if he needs any introduction, we all know who this is, don't we? That's right, it's good old Flying Scotsman. And I have to say right now, Flying Scotsman is my absolute favourite locomotive there is out there. As basic as it is, yes, but it's just such a classic. And this model in itself is such a classic. As we can see, it's not super detailed, it's not super up to date, but I just love it. And I have a lot of nostalgia for this model because I used to have one exactly like it before I sold off my old collection, which is nothing compared to the one that I have now. And this is just hobby I never should have gotten out of, but yeah. And as for this model, it's one that's tender driven, so the motor's in the tender, and it pushes the loco along as well as pulling its load. So as you can see, the loco's just freewheeling. I didn't mind that when I wanted to get Flying Scotsman. I knew I wanted to get one like the one I used to have because it just lasted me for so long. And it was such a troop. I put it through quite a lot back in the day and it still kept going. And I certainly put this one through its paces. And like in my centenary video that I did for Flying Scotsman centenary, where he was pulling a lot of coaches, but it still keeps kicking. And unlike my old model, I do also like how this one I got actually has a crew inside. Goes for drivers there and the firemen shoveling the coal. So yeah, a proper classic model, this one. And obviously there's more classic than the 4472 LNR. And yeah, this model just holds a great level of nostalgia for me. It's just so nice to have it once again. But you might be wondering, if Flying Scotsman is your favourite engine in the world, model-wise, well, what could possibly top it? Well, the answer is pretty simple. It's definitely another one. A lot of these are quite very recognisable, but this one's certainly recognisable for the way it took social media by storm when it was first announced. And, well, it's my favourite colour. It's a limited edition, and it's Tor Valley in the Elizabeth II and Platinum Jubilee paint job. This locomotive is indeed very detailed. It comes with furthermore detailed still that you can stick on it. It's just that I haven't actually gotten around to doing that for all the time I've had it. I might do one day. Yeah, and when I heard that they were doing this, I wasted no time. I was glad I pre-ordered it when I could. And it's just such a beauty to behold. And the purple paint really does help with that. You get here where it says Elizabeth II, number 70, because of course 70 years on the throne. And they especially talked about it on Hornby and Model World and how they had to get the tender detail just right in the placing of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee 2022 logo. This model in itself is also a very good run-in. It certainly looks nice no matter what it's pulling. Sometimes I like to give it the Pullmans, sometimes I like to give it these. And sometimes I like to get really experimental and see how it looks pulling trucks, and it even looks good doing that. And another reason for it is that, well, I know maybe biases, especially of shades of purple like this is my favourite colour, but it's just so unusual. You just don't get many like it. And I believe this was because back in the day, purple was a pretty expensive colour to make. It's not so difficult nowadays, but still, it's definitely one you don't get every day, and, well, I absolutely love it. So yes, out of the non-Thomas engines in my collection for the top 5, Elizabeth II, aka Tor Valley, easy, just number 1 for me. Top 5 it may be though. Why not have an honourable mention? And we'll especially have an honourable mention for the Thomas category, but for the non-Thomas engines, well, can't get any more classic than this. This is of course Smokey Joe. This particular tank engine is a very charming design, and Smokey Joe's another one I have a lot of nostalgia for, because I may never have owned one in the past, especially when I had the old collection, but I of course got this for Christmas one time. But the reason why it holds a lot of nostalgia for me is because I actually used to remember seeing Smokey Joe advertised in the Argos catalogue. Just out of interest, whoever of me remembers when the Argos catalogues used to be really chunky, hey? Last I looked nowadays, we're really not. And I don't even know if they still advertise Hornby models, but I definitely remember seeing Smokey Joe there, and Smokey Joe is a perfect beginner's model too. Even if you're a hardcore modeler who's been doing it for years, it's still a really nice gift. I mean, come on, just look at it. As I say, it's a very charming design, and he's just so perfect. And he's got a good weight to him, he runs nicely, and it's just such a nice model to have, and I'm very happy to have Smokey Joe. And my cousin in particular, hello if you're watching, he's very fond of Smokey Joe too, and it really warms my heart to see how much pleasure Smokey Joe not only brings me, but others. And I'm even going to make Smokey Joe a character in my Thomas series as well. So yeah, for honourable mentions, Smokey Joe's definitely it. And now, here we are on the top 5 favourites in my collection for the Thomas characters, and I have to confess, this was incredibly hard, because most of the ones that have the Batman, and the Batman Thomas range just always looks good to me, and I especially end up liking them even more after having them in person. So yeah, it was tough to choose, but at least managed it. And to kickstart with things, here he comes. Yes, it's Diesel, Devious Diesel. Although, is he really? Or is he just trying to fool us with that face? Yeah, that's not really the face of the devious villain, is it? But, hey ho, what can you do? But yeah, Diesel is pretty nicely detailed when you're able to see up close. He's quite heavy, and he is quite the smooth runner of mine. And I just love how stocky and boxy he is. Like, he is just a very good model to have. And I've always preferred this over the Hornby Diesel, because the Hornby Diesel always looks a little weird. I believe this isn't, well actually I believe it is, because they didn't use a class 08, I believe. Yeah, I really don't think he used a class 08, but this is specifically modelled to be Diesel, and Diesel we get. We do also get the Grumpy variant of this as well, although my idea of a perfect Diesel would be this body, but with the mean snarling face from his debut. And the one there he's wearing, of course, when he's doing his famous growling, you know, and that was funny to do, although my impression probably wasn't the best, but there we go. So yeah, Diesel in at number 5. Coming in at number 4, it's another small engine, this one, but a very worthwhile one, and it's a character I've always been fond of, and one of my personal favourite characters. It's Oliver. Now, I did actually have the Hornby Oliver back in the day, but seeing how sought after it is now on eBay, boy do I kick myself for not keeping it. The Batman Oliver, it definitely fills in very nicely, and well, I just couldn't possibly choose a favourite. I've always liked Oliver's basis, the 14XX. I've always liked how he's had the wheels at the front and the trailing wheels at the back. And that face, I can't complain too much about the face. The face does look pretty nice. And the green paint this model has makes it look very eye-catching. And not all Batman Thomas models have this, but I do also have to like how Oliver has the separately fitted lamp on the back as well as on the front. I just feel everything's been well done about this model. Some may complain, I guess, that the face maybe looks a bit too small, or not quite detailed enough, but I personally reckon it looks fine, and if you have it in person, it just looks even better. I don't know if everyone else had that experience, but that's at least the experience I've had for Batman Thomas models. When you get them in person, they look even better. And much like most other models in my collection, Oliver looks great pulling coaches or freight, and he especially looks good teamed up with his old chum, Toad. This is the Batman Toad as well. Batman, Toad, Batman Oliver, it works. And as I say, we just look great together as we're doing the show. So that one's Oliver for you. And now here we are coming in at number 3, which, ironically enough, is actually engine number 4. And we've just gone past number 4. But here we are. Good old Gordon. Now, when it comes to merchandising, I've always said this to my brother and my friends, but I just don't know what it is about Gordon in particular, but I just feel he always transitions so well into model form, into merchandise form. Like, he always works well as toys, he works well as models, and the Batman models certainly no exception. I love the face on this guy, the blue paint he has. It's got a good bit of heft, and the tender looks pretty nice as well. I don't mind the tender sometimes derails a little, but thankfully it doesn't happen very frequently. And given it tends to be the front wheels, I don't know, maybe the spring on this might be a little too high. Might be worth trying to fix. But yeah, pity it's not very detailed inside, but naturally you get what you get, and well, even without cab detail, we certainly do get Gordon. But interestingly enough, I wonder if you get some variation, because particularly with me, my Gordon's not a particularly fast runner. Like, if I show you this, that's literally the controller set at 50 speed, and that is just not very. And if I'm moving completely out of shot, so I can turn it up all the way. Well, he seems to work decently at full speed, but just by himself, he's just not a very fast runner, my Gordon. He still runs well, don't get me wrong, but it's a bit ironic as Gordon's usually supposed to be the fastest engine on the Northwestern. But still, I really do love this model. It just looks great. And I cannot believe my luck when I came across both Gordon and James in a model shop in Aberystwyth in Wales. And not only did the guy selling them just happen to have them, but they were the last one of each too. So yeah, that was good fortune. Fortune, get it? I'm so funny, no I'm not. But yeah. Off you pop, Gordon, and we'll move on to number 2. And number 2 is a certain delight. and he's always been one of my favourites of the Batman models in terms of looks. And funny enough, we did see him early in the video. But of course, here at number 2, we have Spencer. When it comes to Spencer, I've never owned a Hornby one, but I'm also quite glad I don't. The Hornby Spencer looks a bit underdone and a bit weird. The face looks a bit weird and his wheels aren't silver at all, they're black, making him look a bit strange. But on the Batman Spencer, he looks very streamlined. And these wheels are, of course, thankfully, the same colour as his body. And the face doesn't look that bad in all honesty. And he just looks like a very powerful engine, doesn't he? And a very fast one. May not be the fastest runner that I've got, but still. My particular model does at least go nice and quickly. And the tender's got some definite heft to it. Weirdly enough, I like this dark grey colour though, instead of the same colour as the rest. This bet, Answer just looks great overall, absolutely. Love the way he looks, and I don't know if he's everyone's favourite, or anyone's favourite at all, but I just don't think Batman did a bad job with this. And much like Gordon, which I forgot to say, the step there on the tender and the room in the cab. It's so roomy, so you could fit a crew in there if you really wanted to, which is a nice added bonus. And all in all, he just looks great. I have no real complaints with Spencer, honestly, and if I were to think of any, well, I think I'd have to resort to nitpicking, honestly. Yeah, that's number 2. And now on to number 1 of the Thomas characters. Alright, and now we're on to the number 1 spot for me of my favourite Thomas models that I've got. And this one is quite a recent release, but it's a very charming looking model, and it's one I feel like Batman really hit out of the park. And yes, that's ironic, isn't it? Number 1 on a white spot, but it's not Thomas. It is in fact Ryan. Yeah, once again, I may be biased with purple having a favourite colour, but once again, Ryan just looks really good. And I think Batman just gone above and beyond to create something special here. You got his separately fitted details. You got his nameplate there, GNR, his running number. A pity that this is just a stamp block, so you can't fit any minifigures in there. Especially the way that's a nice mixture of gold and white. It just looks very nice. And the face in particular, the face is another thing that just absolutely sells me with this model. That just looks absolutely fantastic. Looks exactly the way that, of course, we're used to seeing him in Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure. And I just feel like Batman have been doing a really, really good job, and they've just been doing even better jobs, I might add, especially when it comes to the faces of these characters, and Ryan's is certainly no exception. It's a very nice face. And, well, much like Spencer, if I was to find anything wrong with this model, especially my personal copy, as it turned out quite well, I think I really would have to resort to nitpicking, because, well, I just don't find anything particularly wrong with this model at all. It just would be nice if this was open to make an open cab. But yeah, you just get what you get, don't you? And weirdly enough, I don't think any of the tank engines in the Batman Thomas range, except for Rosie, have an open cab. So that's pretty interesting. Do correct me if I'm wrong, of course. It could be, but on the whole, that's Ryan for you. And as of present, he is my favourite character that Batman have produced, as well as my overall favourite Thomas model that I've got in my collection. And for honourable mentions in terms of the Thomas models, well, I think they all do really, because they do deserve some credit. But of course, even if he wasn't and one of the list in the whole. We have to hear it from the man himself, don't we? Have to hear it from Thomas. This is where things get interesting, because I have not one, not two, but three Thomases, as you can see. This one, of course, being Batman. This is the Batman LBSC version, and because this one, looking rather stretched out, is the Hornby model. And all of these models look pretty nice. Especially like how the LBSC Thomas has the lining on the bunker, which you don't see much of in Thomas characters these days. And I do love this one from a nostalgic point. I did used to have the Hornby Thomas. I had one of the earlier ones where it was a darker blue. This is one of the newer ones where it's a lighter blue. And I do love how more TV accurate this one seems in terms of overall proportions and shape. And well, of course, in Batman's case, you get Thomas the character, whereas he more or less get a realistic Thomas from Hornby as the bases that they already had to hand. They are all just very nice models in their own right. So yeah, Thomas the Tank Engine. If anyone was asked which one's my favourite, again, that's tough to say because I love them both for different reasons. It's from a nostalgic point, and it's probably got more of a quality mechanism in this because, well, it's a bit more TV accurate, and come on, it's Thomas. What's not to love, eh? So yeah, Thomas the Tank Engine. And thus, there we have it, including the honourable mentions. There's the top favourite locos in my collection that are both real engines and Thomas characters. And on the whole, I'd like to hear from you guys, from your own experiences, or even judge from pictures. What are your favourite non-Thomas engines and favourite Thomas engines? Be sure to put down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And much like the video that inspired me, one may ask, is there any characters of Thomas, or any of the non-Thomas characters for that matter, but I'd love to get, and those which I probably wouldn't love to get? Well, when it comes to the Thomas characters, it goes without saying, I'm certainly not planning to invest in the Hornby Emily. That one looks horrible. And why I don't want to, when I got the Batman one right here, it's much better, believe me. There's none of the Batman Thomas range that I probably wouldn't want to get, but there's still plenty I plan to invest in. I suppose I wouldn't really want to get the other diesels. I've got this one, and this one's fine enough as it is, and I'm only planning on getting in one of the Rosies, and it's the red one, as the red one, she looks better. She might even be the one I'll get next, we'll see. And out of this lot, well, real engines. I suppose if there was what on there I wouldn't get, I know that Sam made a whole list of lemon locomotives as well, and any of them on the list, especially the really bad ones, I probably wouldn't want to get. I know he did mention about his Emily burning out. I still got one anyway, but there is some much worse than that, and mine might not do it, we'll have to see. And if there's any other real life engine I would love to get, not a Thomas character, I'd really love to get the Hornby Lodestar one of these days. That one looks very nice. And there's so many others I'd love to get as well. Like I'm planning on getting one I just really love as well. a Virgin, a Hornby Virgin Pendolino. That'd be very nice to have. Then, as I say, that's my top 5 favourite non, including the honourable mention, Thomas models in the top 5, including the honourable mention, Thomas models. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and I'll see you in the next one. But until next time, this is Captain Conroy signing out.